So Kanye's interview had just came out. A lot of people are reposting it. A lot of people are reacting to it. Like it's just a lot of like things that he's saying that he's regurgitating that he's already said online, and then he's wearing something that is very, 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 very wrong. But anyways, we already heard about this interview coming out. We've already anticipated it because they've already talked about it for some time now. So we kind of already had a peace of mind of what it was going to be. But the one thing that, like, from the whole thing, because I think Kanye was just rambling at this point. But the one thing that I did want to point out that everybody was talking about online was his reference to the beef, was Kendrick and Drake and the beef that they had and what Kanye was saying about it. It looks like Kanye really, really was jealous of Kendrick Lamar because in the interview with academics, he decides to say that. He decides to openly just admit that he was jealous of Kendrick Lamar. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about everything that had took place before that. You know, when the beef had took place, you had Like That with Kanye West. And, you know, obviously he had that whole remix that people still bring up to this day because it was just funny how Kanye had tried to insert himself in the beef.
You know, we had to get the hooligans up here. We're going to take this out. Yo, Dot, I got you.
So, when Kanye West had made this remix to Like That, a lot of people thought that Kanye was on Kendrick Lamar's side. He didn't like Drake. They've had recent beef in the past. They've had their ins and outs, whatever the case may be. But Kanye always had said that he didn't like Drake. And when Kendrick Lamar started to beef with Drake, Kanye was very, very open about not liking Drake and being forward with this song, saying that he got Kendrick's back. Yo, Dot, I got you. And now moving forward, fast forward into the beef, he starts talking down on Kendrick Lamar. He starts acting jealous of Kendrick Lamar. And now at this point, it starts to be like if he wants a response from him, almost like he wants him to react to what he's saying online. Now, frankly, a lot of people have been saying online that they do not want to see Kanye and Kendrick Lamar go at it. They do not want Kendrick Lamar to bite the bait. At this point, everybody thinks that Kanye is rage baiting and is trying to get some type of response from somebody, especially Kendrick Lamar. In this new interview, he's openly stated that he is jealous of him. And it actually goes back to what everybody was saying when all of this started transpiring. He was cool with Kendrick Lamar at the beginning when there really wasn't a winner. Now that Kendrick is determined to be the winner and has claimed to be number one, that's when Kanye has a problem. And he explains that in the interview that he did, stating that this was all because he was jealous of Kendrick for saying that he was number one.
Jealous that Kendrick is on Cardi album. And I feel like that's two different genres. It seemed like J. Cole and Kendrick would be more like, I like mixing genres and shit, but yeah, I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm hearing this shit for the first times. I'm celebrities.
Like I said, he openly admits that he's jealous of Kendrick Lamar. And now it all starts to make sense because this interview, bro, everything else is just a whole bunch of rambling, a whole bunch of regurgitation of what he said previously online. The only difference is he's wearing a robe with it. So it's just a whole bunch of nonsense. But this was the part where I think he was being open. You know, he has that God complex where he likes to think of himself as such, even though I don't really look at him as that. But he says God is an angry God. God is a jealous God. You know, God is a blessing God. You know what I mean? Then he starts bringing out all these examples. But realistically, you're just showing signs of humanity, of being human. You're not really showing signs of having the God complex. You're just jealous, which is probably the most horrible human trait to have. And whether you like to think of God as a jealous God, whether that be true or not, I don't think being jealous makes you more holy than the next man. And I think the other thing that I wanted to express here was that he's been on this tirade. He's been going crazy on Twitter, talking about Drake in a bad way, talking about Kendrick in a bad way, saying all these things about all these people. But realistically, he's just jealous, bro. And at this point, the hate is forced. At this point, the hate is obvious. And it's been obvious before this interview even came out. I don't really try to cover Kanye West and his antics because it's just so much mess and it's just a lot of stuff. But I wanted to point this out because this was a conversation that everybody has been talking about. Is Kanye doing all these things? Is he saying all these things because he wants to get a response out of Kendrick Lamar? He's openly saying that he's jealous, but I feel like he's doing this because he wants to get some type of reaction. A lot of people feel like it's not worthy for Kendrick to even go at him. I don't even think it's worth it because what could Kendrick say to this guy that's going to help him or benefit either of them? Obviously, you could make money, but what's the purpose of going at Kanye West when he's going at everybody? He's not just going at Kendrick Lamar. He's going at Drake. He's going at Playboy Cardi. He's going at Frank Ocean. He named Jim Jones out of all people, like talking about a crypto scheme. Like he's naming all these people. He's basically just telling everybody off. And he, at the end of the clip, At the end of the clip, he says he hates rappers. He doesn't like rappers. He dislikes rappers. And I think whatever mood you catch him in, he's going to talk good or bad about somebody. But since Kendrick has been on top this whole time, he's going to start to look at Kendrick like he looks at Drake. He starts looking at it with some despise. He starts despising him. He starts disliking him because he is taking the #1 spot. So I think it's clear at this point, as long as somebody out there is better than Kanye West, he will make an enemy out of you. And what's crazy was because I think he also dissed J. Cole. And what was funny about the J. Cole diss, that he brought up False Prophets, which was a song that J. Cole had used to get at Kanye West and all these other rappers, the little whatevers, and then talking about a person that he had looked up to. Even way back then, I understood the message in J. Cole's song when he had talked about false prophets. And it's funny how Kanye had brought up that song. I feel like that diss still gets to him to this day, because why else would he bring it up? But J. Cole, if anything, man, he called out Kanye perfectly in that song. He called out his BS a long time ago. But Kanye's been on his BS since like 2013, bro. He's been doing all these antics for a really long time. They've just grown to the surface at this point. And honestly, you could have kept this interview vaulted, bro. Like, it's just a lot of rambling. I know there was a few things said, a few people mentioned. But like I said, bro, at the end of the day, if you heard this whole interview, his thoughts are everywhere, and it doesn't really end with a conclusion. There's not really any lesson learned here by the end of the conversation. They talked for a whole hour. And really, from what I got from this was that Kanye is a jealous person. He's jealous of Kendrick Lamar, as well as other people who surpassed him. He feels betrayed by people that he's helped because they don't condone his actions. When he starts acting like this publicly, they start distancing themselves, or they start prepping themselves away from him. I wouldn't want to be near you, even if you help me drop a song, even if you help me make a beat, bro. I don't want anything to do with you if you're going to be talking like that. And which leads me to my next point. Do not let Kanye do a favor for you. It appears that if you let him do any type of favor for you, he will throw it in your face and remind you what he did for you. And those are the worst type of people to have around. And it's annoying trying to hear Kanye West trying to talk sense in this interview when clearly you're wearing a robe, which is the most ridiculous thing, right? You're trying to talk sense in this interview while wearing this robe. It's completely insane. And I really just have to disagree with the whole interview in general. It's just a whole bunch of BS, but he admitted that he's jealous, as well as a whole bunch of other things. But I guess we'll talk about it later and see what it do, man, and keep moving forward. Y'all tell me how you feel about this interview and get back to me, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video, man. Peace. Keep it a legend.